Hi everyone, I'm Prachi Agarwal. Welcome to our channel Learn Competitive Programming with CodeChef. If you are interested in competitive programming and want to learn and master data structures and algorithms, then this is a one-stop destination for you. Every week we'll post CodeChef problem explanations, conceptual videos on various programming paradigms and also conduct live problem-solving sessions. But before we actually get started, here's a reminder to hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet already. Great. Now that you have subscribed, let's get started. Welcome back to the series Introduction to Programming. So in the previous video, you learned the basics of C++ and also you did your first program, that is a simple input and output program. Now in this video, we will move on further on exploring C++. So we are going to talk about operators in this video. Now, you have already learned about operators in our previous series that was about Introduction to Programming using flowcharts. So there we saw all of these operators, that is arithmetic, relational and logical operators and their types. So we have already learned about it. But when we are learning a language, then in that case there might be some operators or some constructs which are different or which are extra than the general ones. So here in C++, relational and logical operators are the same as it is. But in arithmetic operators, we have two new additions that we are going to talk about right now. And also in C++, assignment is also considered as an operator. So you have already learned about this equal to. You already know how assignment works. It's just that in C++ it is considered as an operator and it has some variants to it, which we will be discussing. So first of all, let us see that which are the two arithmetic operators which are specific to C++. We have two arithmetic operators which is used specifically in C++ language, and that is the increment and decrement operators. Now these two operators, as the name suggests, that is what they do. Increment and decrement operator is used to increase or decrease the value of a variable by 1. So if you use, suppose we take a variable a, and if you use this operator along with a variable, then whatever would be the value of a would be increased by 1. And the other thing that you need to know about increment and decrement operator is that these are unary operators. What do you mean by unary operators? It means that this operator requires just one value or just one element, or you can say it requires just one variable in order for it to work. So up till now we had seen binary operators. Binary operator as in that it requires two values in order for it to work. Say for example, we take addition operator. So this plus operator will require two values, a plus b, or either 5 plus 7. It cannot be so that we do just 5 plus and expect a legit answer. No, this will be wrong. So these are the type of operators which are known as binary operators. But unary operators are the ones which require only one value and they will work. Now furthermore, to elaborate increment and decrement operators, they are of two types, the postfix increment and decrement operator and the prefix increment and decrement operator. So the postfix operator means that the operator will be present after the variable. The operator here also is present after the variable. So this is the increment operator and this one is the decrement operator. And prefix means that the operator will be present before the variable. Now a question would arise in your mind that why do we have postfix and prefix if both of them look alike? Like here you can see a plus plus, here also plus plus a, and if we are to take a value, say suppose a equals to 5 and then we are going to do a plus plus, so then it will result in 6. Again if we do plus plus a, that is also going to give us an answer as 6. And similarly for decrement, if we take the value as a equals to 5 and then do decrement, then both of these will result in the same value, that is 4. So both of these postfix and prefix operators, they are performing the same operation then why do we even require that, or what is the difference between postfix and prefix? So let us see that when we use these values independently without assigning it to any other variable, then in that case these operators work just the same. So even if you do a plus plus or you do plus plus a, it does not make a difference. But when we assign these values, that is along with the increment or the decrement operator to any other variable, that time the postfix and prefix matters, because when we are using postfix, the value of this particular variable will change after the assignment, and for prefix the value of the variable will change before the assignment. So let us see what does that mean. Let us take a equals to 5 and we will see what happens when we use postfix operator. So for increment, when we are using a equals to 5, that time here we know that the value of a is 5, but the question is that what will be the value of x. So according to general perception, the value of x should be 6 because this is the increment operator, right? But this is not so in case of postfix. What will happen that since this operator is present after the variable, it will get executed afterwards. First, the equal to or the assignment operator will be getting executed here. So what will happen that value of this a, which is 5, will be stored in x, and after that this value of a will increase. That means the value of a will become 6. But if you try to print the value of x, then it will remain 5. So you see what has happened here. In postfix operator, it is written that value changes after the assignment. That means once the original value of a has been assigned to x, after that this plus plus operator will work and increment the value of a by 1. Now what happens in prefix? In prefix, the operator is present before the variable. So what happens is that the value of a first increases, means if the value of a is 5, then first it will increase to 6, and then after this increment this value gets assigned to x. So here if we check the values of a and 6 afterwards, then in that case x will be also equal to 6 and a will also be equal to 6. So this is the difference between postfix and prefix, because you see that in prefix it's written value changes before assignment. Before assignment means that first this operator will work and then after that the assignment will take place. And here what happens in postfix, first the assignment will take place and after that this operator will work. Now similarly, this was what we saw in the increment operator. Similarly, the same thing happens with the decrement operator. In case of postfix, the value will change after the assignment. So if a is equals to 5, then a will become 4 after this expression has been executed, and y will remain 5 because the value has changed after the assignment. First, the value of a, which was 5, was assigned to y, and after that this decrement operator worked. And similarly for the prefix operator, the value will change before the assignment, which means if a is equals to 5, then this decrement operator will make the value of a as 4, and then this value 4 will be assigned to y. So y will also have the value as 4. So this is the major difference between postfix and prefix increment and decrement operators. Now we have one more operator that we need to cover in regards with C++, and that is the assignment operator. So let us have a look at that now. Assignment is nothing new for us. You already know about it. We have already seen that assignment means that the right hand side value is assigned to the left hand side variable, right? So here a equals to 7, so the value 7 is assigned in variable a. If you are doing b equals to c plus d, then it means the value of this expression c plus d will be assigned to variable b. And we have also seen some expressions such as I equals to I plus 5. Now, we have already seen these kinds of expressions in the flowchart series. There I told you that even though I and I, both right hand side and left hand side values, the variables that are used, they are same. So this is not a legit mathematical equation. But here this is valid because this is not considered as an equation. This is an expression. So here what happens is that first we execute the right hand side part. So when we have the initial value of I, we put it in the right hand side, we execute this expression and then store the new value of this expression in variable I. So the initial value of the variable I changes to the new value which is given by this expression. This is how these kinds of expressions work. So what happens in C++ is that there are some variants of assignment operator that can be used to shorten this expression, to shorten the way we write these kinds of expressions, which use the same variable on the left hand side and the right hand side both. So how can we change these expressions? We have certain variants of assignment operators such as this. So if we have to write x equals to x plus 5, then instead of writing this entire expression or instead of mentioning the x and x 2 times, we can just write x plus equals to 5. So x plus equals to 5 will in turn mean that x equals to x plus 5. So these are the assignment operators that we had to learn about. These assignment operators can be used with all other arithmetic operators like with plus, minus, multiplication, division and modulus. So you can say that these are just the shorthand operators that are used in order to just minimize the amount of code that we have to write. And it's not even minimizing, it's just writing a cleaner code. That is why C++ has these kinds of assignment operators. So now that we have learned about assignment operator also, let us take a quick recap of all the C++ operators that we have. So first of all, we have arithmetic operators in which we have learned about increment and decrement operator just now. And these 5 operators, we have already learned about them in the previous series. Then we have relational and logical operators, which are pretty much the same as we just learned in the flowchart series. So for relational operators, we have greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, double equal to, and not equal to. And logical operators, we have and, or, and not operator. Then assignment operator, we have different variants of assignment operator in C++, which we just talked about. And if you talk about the precedence of the C++ operators, so here you can see them written from higher precedence to the lower precedence. So first we will execute all the arithmetic operators, then relational, then logical, and then assignment. And if we talk about the precedence of individual operators, so that is just the same as we discussed in the previous series. So you can just go up there and look in the flowchart series of the particular different operators. There you will find the precedence. So I think that now when we are done with all of the theory part of the C++ operators, it is time that we go on to the IDE and try different operations out so that we can see that how these operators actually work when we are coding them out. Making use of the CodeChef IDE to test our sample code where we are going to use C++ operators. Now here I have chosen the language as C++ 17, which is the latest version of C++. So please make sure to use that. Now when you will select any language from here, you will get a basic construct that is required for any language in order to execute a code. So without this, whatever you see written here, without this, a C++ code cannot run. And whatever logic we want to write, we write inside this main function. So that is what we are going to do. So let us do a simple addition program. Alright. So for addition, what is our requirement? Our requirement is that we should have 2 variables. Alright. So let us first declare 2 variables A and B. And we also need one more variable, that is for storing the value of this addition that we will perform. So we will declare one more variable as answer, which will store our addition value or the result. Now what we can do is that we can either take input for A and B variables from the user, or a second option is that we can just directly give values here to A and B. So for now, let us initialize these variables with values. So I will give A equals to 4 and B equals to 5. Now we need to perform addition, and we will store that addition in the variable answer that we have declared. So answer equals to A plus B. This is our logic for addition. Now in order to see our answer or our result, we need to print it. So for that we will use cout, because cout is used in C++ for printing anything. So we will just simply print answer. Now when we have written the entire logic, we are just required to run our code. We run the code from here and we will get our output, and in the output we are supposed to get whatever we have printed here. So we have printed answer here, and A plus B should be equal to 9. So we have got the output as 9. This is how we execute a particular code in C++ IDE. Now let us change this example. Let us do multiplication, which is as simple as doing addition, right? We just have to change the operator symbol. And if we do A into B and again run the code, now you will see that our answer is different. This time we have got 20, because 4 into 5 is equals to 20. Now let us again change our code a bit. Now this time, instead of just providing values like this, we are going to take input. So we will take input for A and we will take input for B. Now this time when we run the program, then this program will ask for user input for the values of A and B. So we will be supposed to enter the values, and only after that these statements will get executed. Now if you use any other IDE, then in that case you will run the program and after that you will be asked to enter the two values. But in CodeChef IDE, what happens that if we are supposed to take input, then we have to use custom input option. And when we use custom input option, we have to give our inputs here before even running the code. Because what happens is that these two lines will pick up the input from here, whatever input we give here. So in whatever format we have asked the input in these lines in the code, in the same format we are supposed to give them here. So A and B are integer values and we are supposed to give two inputs. So we will give input as 7 and in the next line we will get input as 8. So these are the two inputs we require for our code to run. Now we will run our code and see if it works. So ideally the answer should be 7 into 8, 56. So you can see that your input is 7 and 8 and your output is 56, right? So this is how the entire operation works. So we discussed the most basic operators with you, that is the arithmetic operators in the form of a C++ program. Now let us move further and discuss some other operators. So in C++ we already discussed that there are like some specific C++ operators like increment and decrement operators, and I already showed you that how these operators work. But let us rectify that in the form of a C++ program. So here I have already like written a program for you, and what it does is that it has taken two variables. You can see A and X. So this A variable, we will increment it. So we will be using the increment operator here, and the same thing you can assume for the decrement operator. That is how it works. So we will be taking a variable A in which I have given it a value as 1. So you can either take input, or I have already like declared the variable and just initialized the value there and then. Now what we are going to do is that one by one we are going to test how does a postfix and a prefix operator work, and what was the definition of postfix and prefix increment or decrement operator, that it has a difference when it comes to assignment. right? So we will check it without assignment and with assignment. So let us first check it with assignment. So let us do a plus plus. When we are doing a plus plus, ideally what should happen is that the value of a should be incremented by 1, right? And this is the postfix operator. So let me write that for you, that this we are using right now is the postfix operator, increment operator. Now we will print the value of a. So you can see that I have already written different print statements that we'll require, and whenever I want to use them, I can just uncomment it and use it. So right now I need the print statement which is associated with the postfix increment operator. So this is the first print statement. We'll uncomment it, and here you can see that something is written in double quotes. So this is just a message that I want to print along with the value of a. So you can do that in C++ by using your message inside double quotes. So that way it will get printed along with the value of a or the variable. So let us run our code and see what will be the answer. So you can see that the value of a is 2 now, means it has been incremented by 1. So it is behaving perfectly normally like an increment operator should work. Now we will use the prefix increment operator. So let's delete this and write down prefix increment operator, which will be plus plus a. So this is the prefix increment operator, and let us write down prefix. Okay, now we don't want to use this print statement, rather we'll use the second print statement, because you can see plus plus a written here as the message and the value of a to be printed. So let us run, and as expected the output should be 2. So there will be a difference in the postfix and prefix when we are assigning this thing, when we are assigning this plus plus a or a plus plus to some other variable. So you can see that for plus plus a as well, for prefix as well, the output is 2. Now what we are required to do is that we will actually assign this to a variable. We have assigned this plus plus a value to a variable x. And now when we print the value of x as well, when we will print the value of x and we will print the value of a, let us print the value of a also. Now let us see what will happen. Now in this case the value of x and the value of a both are 2. So you see that what was the case in prefix? First this increment operator performs its operation, and after that the value of a will get assigned to x. So that means the value of a is 1 initially, it gets incremented to 2, and after that it is assigned to x. And that is the reason that a is also 2 and x is also 2. But if we change it to postfix, let us change this to postfix. Now what will happen? Now in this case the scenario would be different. Let us run and see. Now this time the value of x will remain 1, but the value of a will be 2. So why is that happening is, we have already discussed this, that it happens due to the fact that first the assignment takes place and after that the operator performs its operation. So first the value of a gets assigned to x, and after that it is incremented by 1. So that is the reason x will remain as the previous value, as the initial value of a, but a will get incremented by 1. So this is how we perform operations using the increment or decrement operator. It can be used in various scenarios, which we will be learning when we go further in this series. Now we are just left with relational operators and logical operators. So that we will be covering in the next video, because these operators are generally associated with conditions, and conditions mean that the output would always be either true or false. And if we want something to happen just because the answer was true or just because the answer was false, then we use that in the form of conditions. And how we use those conditions in C++, that we'll be seeing in the next video. Meanwhile, I would like to tell you that you can practice as many problems as you can on CodeChef, because there are a lot of beginner problems which can help you develop a coding practice. and this is a beginner series, so definitely you will need a lot of practice. So you can go on this practice and learn section, and here you can even search problems by tag. You can see that here are all the beginner problems, so you can just come on the CodeChef IDE and practice. And if you don't know how to like practice problems on CodeChef, if you don't know about that, then I'll also give a brief introduction about that in the next video, so keep watching.